with hair grease. I'm redoing this video again because we had a brain malfunction. Okay, but now we're back. Okay. So, did my introduction. Okay, hello. All right. So this video is titled Show Up as a God. Okay, show up as God. Okay. If someone was to ask you to be the if someone was to ask you to be the individual expression of God, what would that look like? Okay, that is your ultimate goal. Okay, now before we started this video, okay, you have to be the physical expression of what God looks like. Okay, so naturally, the woman body does emulate this. Okay, but of course, you know, if you are in a male vessel, you will represent the masculine manifestation of God. Okay, because feminine and masculine energy are just batteries for creation. Okay, nothing gets done without feminine and masculine energy. As I stated in previous videos, all inventions, including the car, your refrigerator, and even an iPad, okay, all of those started in the mind, okay, in the idea, in the ethers, the feminine, okay, and the execution of that, okay, putting it together is the masculine. All right, that's how this shit works. All right, so before we started this video, first thing that you need to do in order to show up as God is to be in shape. Okay, be in shape, please. As I stated before, when you look at depictions of different types of gods from Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, Hinduism, okay, Mesopotamianism, you don't see one fat ass god. Okay, you don't see one chunky ass god. Okay, get up, and get your ass in shape. Okay, you cannot call yourself a god if you stuffing your ass with fucking Twinkies and honey buns in Burger King every other day. All right, you do not have to have a gym membership. This is why we are advancing, even though humans are behind in technological advancement. Hello, darling. Even though humans are behind in technological advancement, we do have some pretty useful technology today. Okay, and that includes the smartphone. All right, get your ass up, download YouTube. Okay, and even if you don't have access to a gym, okay, look at exercises that are at the level that you're, like I said, you ain't gotta run 5 miles every day if you're just starting out. But look at exercises that are at your level of sustainability, and you execute those, okay? Because God, in order to be a God, in order to do the divine expression of God, you have to be in shape, okay? There's no fat ass God except for the Buddha and except for Ganesha. And Ganesha only fat as fuck because Ganesha is an elephant. Okay. Thank you, sweetheart. And then Buddha just represents abundance. Okay. But other than that, gods are not overweight. Okay. Thor is ripped as hell. Okay. With his chest out. Okay. And stuff. Okay. Mayat is in shape. Mayat is slender. All right. Sekhmet is slender. She's in shape. Okay. I'm not saying you got to be 90 pounds, but you know, get in shape. Okay. You can't be a god, or you can't show up as a physical expression of God if you got clogged arteries. Unacceptable. Okay. And I also explained why this, because there's a lot I want to get into this video. Okay. I also explained why it's a little bit harder to do this, because the body in nature, okay, nature is working against the soul. Okay, your body is working against the soul. Okay, so when you have certain cravings, okay, just because your body crave it does not mean you should do it. Okay, especially this is a little bit more harder, especially when it comes to men. Okay, In order to, men have to temper their sexual desires. Okay, men are the perfect example. The male body, okay, the male vessel is the perfect example of being able to control the beast, to control nature. Because when you are a male, okay, you were literally bred to reproduce. Okay, this is why they try to, this is why the argument will, you know, one man can get 5 women pregnant, but one woman can only have one baby at a time. Yeah, it's about quality over, it's not, it's about quality over quantity. Okay, so that's why them niggas say that. But just because you can do that, that does not mean you should do that. Okay, this is where you have, sexual assault and other sexually heinous crimes, because uh typically the male body has issues controlling urges. Okay, that's a difference that makes males and men. Okay, men have sexual discipline over their urges. Okay, same thing with women. Some women like to eat. Thank you very much. Some women like to eat. Okay, even women have sexual urges. Okay, uh there are things in your body, because your body naturally wants you to reproduce. Nature is working against you, because nature wants you to reproduce. Okay, uh even the female body at 12 years old, you get your menstrual cycle, because nature just wants you to reproduce. Okay, but because humans had to develop some type of higher understanding and realize, hey, just because a girl starts her menstrual cycle at 12, that does not mean she should be uh sexually active. Okay, so just because a girl starts her period at 12 does not mean she should be sexually active. Okay, so this is what, so nature will do that to you, but it's up to humans to use the higher mind, okay, to conquer that. Okay, so not only do you have to deal with your primitive urges, whether it's drinking, smoking, sex addiction, or even if it's just aggression. Okay, being aggressive, being hostile, and not actually being strategic and tempering your temper. Okay, because that's what animals do. Okay, a lot of the people who you see that get mad all the time, they crash out. Okay, and they don't sit to think. That's what animals do. Okay, animals can't control themselves. Okay, so, but a human, okay, and somebody who's also trying to embody the highest expression of God is going to temper that. Okay, because your body is working against you. Okay, your body, nature works against the soul. Okay, so this is why, since Samira has said this very perfectly, in order to get spiritual gain, you have to say it's going to require some type of physical sacrifice. And same thing on the opposite end. Sometimes, in order to get physical gain, you will have to sacrifice spiritual gain. So this is why there are certain people out there who can make a lot of money like a machine, but at the end of the day, they don't have the emotional acuity or the ability to self-reflect to become a better person, because you don't need to be the smartest person in the world to make a lot of money. Okay, California has taught me that. All right. Okay. Also, what makes this kind of hard is two, uh, is the ego. Okay, so the ego also prevents you from showing up as God, because let me explain like this. Okay, the ego is basically your character that you're playing. Okay, the human character of you. Okay, the ego is a masculine expression of human nature. Okay, on the positive side, the ego deals with identity, and basically the ego, when used healthily, okay, a good ego is used when you are connected to your heart. Okay, so a good ego is your human expression, but it's connected through your heart. Okay, so your ego also includes your culture, who you think you are in terms of your culture, your education, okay, and your friend group, okay, those are all your that's your human persona, okay. It's very similar to, again, the Grand Theft Auto example that I like to use, okay. So your ego is CJ, okay. CJ, when you playing Grand Theft Auto, that's your ego. But the soul is, let's say your name is Johnny, okay. Your soul is Johnny behind the TV screen with the PlayStation controller playing GTA, okay. Even though you're showing up as CJ in the game, aka in life, you're showing up as CJ, okay. CJ has the persona of being I ain't played that game in so long, but being a West Coast gangbanger, okay, and doing missions. Or I can use the example of Red Dead Redemption 2, because that's my favorite game, okay. Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like a Western Grand Theft Auto, okay. In Red Dead Redemption 2, I might be playing as Arthur Morgan, okay. The ego of Arthur Morgan is he's an outlaw, okay. They do robberies and bake. I don't do that shit in real life, but my character that I'm playing when I'm playing Red Dead Redemption in the video game is the ego. The soul would be me, okay, LaShira. Okay, I am playing as Arthur Morgan. That's the same thing as your ego versus your soul. So who you think you are, the character that you're playing. Let's say you're from Chicago. My name is such and such, Johnny. I'm from Chicago. Okay, I work here. That is your ego. Okay, but there's another player, okay, who is behind the screen, okay, who's controlling that. But the issue comes in when you think that you're CJ, when you think that you're Arthur Morgan in the video game, okay, you're not Arthur Morgan. You're Johnny. You are Shy playing Arthur Morgan. You are Johnny playing CJ in San Andreas. Okay, that is the difference between your ego and your soul. Okay, your soul is you playing the game. Okay, the ego is the persona, the stage in which it's set. That's the same thing as your ego versus your soul. Okay, now the ego. So this is why a lot of people will never get to be able to be authentically able to express their soul, okay? Because that's what we're moving towards. When people say, oh, we're shifting, we're moving towards the fifth dimension, and that's what's happening, okay? Carbon 12 is losing neutrons to become carbon 7, okay? Basically, the soul comes out more, okay? So when people talk about authenticity is just your soul literally taking over the body, okay? That's it. So the ego you might like your friends, but the soul you, there's something deep in your soul. It's like a job, right? Like, let's say the ego you is attached to your job, okay? But the soul hates your job, okay? Because that's not what the fuck it wants to do, okay? Now, this is why it's really hard for people to kind of do that, because they're focused on the character, okay, that you were giving as in Earth. Okay, so when you first arrive, you got a name, you got put into a social class, you got sent to a certain school. Your ego identifies you with where you grew up. Okay, I'm from Chicago. I'm from DC. I'm from LA. Okay, that's your character. But you know damn well your soul ain't from no damn LA. Okay, but this is the character that you know what I'm saying? So your ego is kind of gets in the way of you being able to show up as God, because you keep trying to show up as the character, not the player. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so your ego is just your human persona. All right, and your ego is your the ego is a form of masculinity, because your ego Let people know, let humans know who you are, okay? Who you fucking with, okay? I hope that makes sense, okay? So next question, all right. When it comes to showing up as God, okay, boom, that's a couple of disclaimers, okay? So when it comes to showing up as God, you really have to ask yourself, what do you stand for, okay? What are your values, okay? And this is also the difference between that's why I'm be telling y'all, get a reader, a natal chart reader. This is also the difference between your tropical astrology and your draconic astrology, okay? Your draconic astrology is the uh astrological placements of your soul, okay? So it doesn't matter how many vessels that you reincarnate in, you're going to always have this energy signature, okay? But your natal chart and your sidereal chart represents the persona of your human expression, okay? That can change as you depending on how many incarnations you have, okay? But your draconic chart is, like for example, in my natal chart, right? In my natal chart, my human chart, I am a sun in Gemini, okay? But in my draconic chart, I'm a Libra sun, which makes a lot of sense because I don't like injustice. I don't like confrontation. I like nice shit, okay? I like, I'm interested in delegating and shit like that. I just don't like argue. I like things to be peaceful and I like things to be balanced, okay? So when you are trying to show up as God, okay, in order to be a God has principles. A God has values. In each mythology, there's a god of something, okay? Demeter is a god of the harvest, okay? Artemis values hunting, okay, and providing after that, okay? Thor represents strength, okay, and being able to be strategic in war, okay? So even though Thor is a warrior entity, okay, Thor is also strategic in war. That's what makes him a god. Okay. Odin, the All-Father, the god of wisdom. Okay. Odin values wisdom. Therefore, he's the god of wisdom. Okay. Hecate. Hecate is the goddess of the unknown, the crossroads, to womanhood, but to priestesshood. Okay. She values priestesshood. Okay. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty, and aesthetics, okay, and also self-love, okay. Aphrodite values love, okay, not just romantic love, self-love, love amongst children, love to your pets, okay. That's what she values. So in order to show up as God, all right, what kind of God are you? What do you stand for? Okay, what do you stand for? And I told y'all, in order to figure out what's going to help you, like I told y'all, or I tell everybody like that get a consultation with me and stuff, you got to choose 5 values, 5 principles, 5 principles, 5, 5 principles that are important to you, 5 non-negotiables. Because when you like I said, you have to treat your soul is taking care of your body. So your soul or the God in you is like the parent to your physical vessel. Okay. This is where discipline comes in. In order to have discipline, you have to have sacrifice. Okay. So you have to choose what kind of God do you want to be. And that's based on your values. Okay. So pick 5 things that you value. Okay. It could be truth, honesty, fairness. Okay. It could be education. Okay, I value education. All right, so if you value education, that means you should not be entertaining or talking to people who also don't value education, man or woman. Okay, meaning the people that are in your circle, they have high IQs if you value education. Okay, I also value discipline. For example, are you the god of discipline? All right. Meaning, when you go out into the world, I don't give a fuck if you at the club. I don't give a fuck how good that person is looking. Okay. If you meet that person and regardless of how they look on the physical outside, if they don't have no form of discipline, you turn them away. Okay. If you value beauty, okay. If you value, hey, I like to be around other women that take care of themselves. I cannot be around other women who are envious of other women because of their beauty. Okay. That is a value that you have. Okay. So you have to incorporate that if you want to be God, because all the mythical gods, they represented something. Okay. Use your favorite god as an example, because they value it so deeply, they become the god of it. Okay. Same thing with, like, I'm gonna give you like my example. I value justice. Okay. I don't like injustice. I don't like when people are bullies. Okay. I don't like I like justice, stability, transparency. Okay. There are certain things that I look for in people, and I don't give a damn what you look like or what you think you finna offer me. If you don't have certain 5 things, I can't fuck with you. Okay. Because that brings structure. Okay. Like Saturn, you know. I'm kind of like Saturn too, but that's a different story. Okay. So you need to find 5 values that are very important to you for you to show up as God. Okay. And you actually have to embody that. Okay. Now, this is where it gets tricky too, because like I said, the human side of you will kick in. The more you, I don't even want to say enlightened, because that sounds so fucking corny. Like, we need to find different words for this shit. Okay. But the more aware that you become, okay, the more that you start to live in authenticity to what your soul wants. Okay. Because a lot of y'all thinking that, because like I said, a lot of people are not living the lives that they want because they doing the complete opposite of what they soul wants. Okay. That's like a motherfucker. Like, for example, I told y'all when I was in the military, one of my officers before I left, even though his ego, because his whole family was military, he decided to be military. But he said, he was like, if I wasn't required to be in the military, I would be in the circus. Like, literally, like, I will be in the circus. But because, like, he enjoys his job but isn't fulfilling his soul. No, that nigga really told me, a lieutenant commander really told me, he was like, if it wasn't for my family, I would probably be a clown in the circus. I'm not even joking. Like, that's what he wanted to do. I'm not even joking. Okay. So the more you align to what your soul wants you to do, here's where humanity gets tricky, because humanity is I'm not saying it's your enemy, but it's your opposition. Okay. The more sovereign you're going to be. Okay. So, and the more sovereign that you are, the more that's going to have you isolated. Okay. Now, why the isolation seems scary? Because the human you, again, your vehicle is a human. Okay. All right. So I'm speaking to you as Shy the Sage. Okay. Or that's what I named myself. Okay. But my soul is called something else. I'm just showing up in this avatar to communicate a message. Okay. The more that you do this, is going to be, and the more that you gain sovereignty, and the more that you are literally in alignment with your soul, no matter how off the wall that you may seem that shit is. Because, like I said, I had a lieutenant commander told me he really, instead of, because he came from a military family, the nigga had to be in the military, but that nigga really wanted to be in the circus. I kid you not. Okay. His soul was to be in the circus. Okay. That alienation is going to scare the ego or the human, because humans are naturally communal. Okay, meaning in order for humans need to be in groups to survive. All right, so this is why when you on your spiritual journey and shit, you are getting more in tune with your soul. The soul does not abide by the animal, which is humans, because humans are animals. Okay, humans are animals. Some are more wild than others. This is why we got prisons and shit. The niggas who can't act right. Okay, the motherfuckers who can't act right, that's why it's prisons. All right, that's why it's jails and shit. That's where we put the animals and shit. Okay. Most of them, not everything. And there's a nuance between that, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. So the more that you try to show up as God is going to be triggering, because your human self is going to kick in, because your human self is going to be scared of being alone, because by nature, if you study, like if you was an alien and you didn't know who humans was, one of the things that you're going to learn about humans in the scientific research is humans need to be around each other in groups for survival. Okay, that is a primitive thing. Okay, that is a before humans became Homo sapiens, we are also Homo erectus. Okay, all right. So Homo erectus needed to be in groups to survive. Okay, so when you're on your spiritual journey, and that need to conform, or that need to be like, well, damn, if I don't do this, then my family's not going to accept me, or my friends are not going to accept me, and I'm going to be isolated. You have to, if you truly want power, okay, if you truly want power, you're going to have to sacrifice that, because that is a human, that is a that's a sacrifice that you're just going to have to make. Okay, but the fear is not coming. The fear is only coming through because humans need to be in groups to survive. Okay, but if you want to transcend humanity, okay, to become a God, or to be an expression of God, you have to you have to make that sacrifice, okay? Because a God is a sovereign being, okay? The primordials are a sovereign being, okay? The Titans are a sovereign being, okay? So again, this is why if you were to talk to a being, like a ninth dimensional being, the things that they are, like their morality is different from human morality, because human morality is based on social expectations due to uh human behavior or animalistic behavior. Okay, so if you, like, that's what I'm saying, like a lot of people do, especially in the spiritual community, okay, like a lot of people like the term I am a God, but you don't understand the sacrifices that come with that, okay? And it's usually like, for example, with Black Americans, okay? So with your Bobby Hemmings and your C.L. Freemans and your Brother Panics, at one point in time, okay, because Black Americans have had their self-esteem diminished based on the country they're in. Okay, so saying I am a God, yes, it's empowering. It is, because we Black Americans needed that self-esteem. Okay, but that's literally where and they think that, especially like the men in the Black American community, they think that being a God means being a tyrant. Like, yeah, like you are the by law, by natural, because you have melanin, you are the physical vessel of God. Yes, but if you also have to learn how to temper yourself, and you also need to learn how to connect to your heart space and live in righteousness. Okay. So I already know a lot of y'all gonna watch this video because it has the term God in it, but to be a God is to accept that your power comes with responsibility. Okay. It's like people want the power, but don't want the responsibility that comes with that power. And a lot of that comes with being able to make human sacrifices, being able to truly be in divine masculine energy, whether you're in a female vessel or a male vessel, to not be afraid to be alone and to be sovereign. Because a lot of people want to say that they God, okay, yeah, but a lot of people can't be alone. You can't be alone. You're going to be alone. You're gonna be alone. Okay. Gods are alone. All right. It's a lot that you have to fucking sacrifice. Okay. It's a lot that you have to sacrifice to get this power. Okay. This is why I was gonna make a video on this too. This is why a lot of people who do get into a spiritual community and do tarot cards and shit, that's why them niggas go back to religion, because they thought that they thought that because you in spiritual shit, and because you know, like, it's about, like, this spiritual shit is basically about, you have to detox your human self. Okay, you have to detox your human self and then integrate it with your soul. So meaning childhood trauma. Okay, you have to face that. Like, I'm talking about the deep shit. Not no, okay, yeah, my mama used to beat me. No, like I have to accept the fact that my relatives don't like me. I have to, and then that's going to be triggering to the nervous system of your vessel, because humans need groups to survive. Okay, so you have to bypass that. You have to bypass your biological urges to be accepted to gain this power. Because, like I said, was a Full Metal Alchemist. Okay, humans cannot gain anything. In order to gain something, humans have to lose something in equivalence to that gain. Okay, so if you want power, okay, you're gonna have to be ostracized. People are gonna have to call you crazy. Okay, and then if you're okay with that, then guess what happens? Guess what happens when I walk in a room? I own that room. Guess what happens when I ask a human to do something? They do it. Guess what happens when I walk down the street? They move out my way. Guess what happens when I just ask a human for everything? For the most part, I get that shit. You get it, okay? But it's not without sacrifice. I don't have any family. I don't have any friends, okay? So I'm just in solitude, just cultivating power, okay? You have to learn. You also have to study. You also have to temper your ego, because, like I said, a good ego is when your ego is connected to your heart. That's when your masculine energy is connected to your heart space. Okay. So it's in alignment with honorability, truth, and justice. But when people talking about unhealthy ego, or you in your ego, that's an unhealthy ego is your human persona when it's disconnected from your heart space. So this is why there are humans out here with horrible egos who think that putting other people down actually lifts them up and makes them feel superior. Is because they're not connected to their heart space. A healthy ego is when you have cultivated your identity and that identity sits firmly into your heart space. Okay. An unhealthy ego is when you have this false personified version of yourself, like what's going on with P. Diddy. P. Diddy has a false personified version of himself that's he says is love, but if you were truly connected to your heart space, no, but yeah, no, okay. Well, like I said, that's different. It's different because you can be connected to your heart space, but your heart space can serve your lower chakras. Because again, when you look at chakras and shit, your heart is in the middle. Okay, it's the gateway between your higher and your higher self and your lower self. I hate using these fucking terms. Okay. But it's a gateway between your higher and your lower self, right? But you can also use your heart chakra to serve the lower self, the lower version of yourself, okay, and not proceed up, okay. So when you gain or like basically, I'm saying all this to say spiritual power comes with human sacrifices, okay, and a lot of people are so afraid. A lot of people are afraid to be alone. A lot of people are afraid to be ostracized. A lot of people are afraid to be labeled as weird. Okay, for social acceptance. Okay, from human beings. And think about it. Like, why would you want to be socially accepted by human beings who listen to everything that the government says? This is why, like I said, this is why the government be. That's why I'm not even mad at the government. Okay, because humans need somebody to follow. Okay, it's going to it's only a few, it's some, I don't know if it's DNA based, okay, but certain, that's why they say sometimes leaders are born, not made. Okay, it's something in a person's DNA that makes them more uh evolved, which gives them more leadership qualities. Okay, but most humans are not leaders. Okay, most humans are just trying to survive, and they need social acceptance. Because why would you follow people who need a lead? Like, they're like children. Humans are like kids, okay? So this is why I don't blame the Illuminati, okay? I don't really blame them for doing what they do. Now, the certain shit that they do, like child trafficking and adrenochrome, I don't agree with that. I don't believe in harming children and shitting on indigenous people because you're on their planet. I don't condone that. Okay. But what I understand why you have to take control of the world, because some people are just born with, especially if you're equipped with the right knowledge, okay, which is just occult knowledge. That's why they can rule the world. So the shit that I be talking about is the same shit that they know. Okay, so this is why I kind of understand, because humans are easy to control. It's real easy. So why would you want social validation from people who need leadership? I don't like you just gotta ask yourself that. Okay, so in conclusion, I think I'm gonna wrap this up, honey. So in conclusion, okay, when I mean show up as God, ask yourself, okay, ask yourself, what would God look like if they had a physical vessel? Okay. If they had a physical vessel, what would God look like? And then embody those qualities. Use examples from mythology: the God of war, the God of love, the God of the harvest, Prometheus, the God of blacksmithery, the God of the blacksmith. Okay, these are different archetypes, okay, in the human realm, and use those as an example. And then you create 5 values that are important to you, okay, and you have to stick to those 5 values. And if you don't stick to them 5 values, that's what self-love is, my nigga. Like, self-love is not just, oh, I'm taking a bath and I'm just showering myself in a milk bath because I love myself. No, self-love means advocating for yourself. So if it's like you have to run it like a business. You have to run you have to run your physical vessel like a business, or as if you were your parent. Especially if you didn't have good parents. If you grew up like where you just had to do everything alone, like me, okay, that means your life lesson is to be taught how to parent yourself. Okay, that was my soul contract when I came into this life. Okay, I had no parental help, no parental guidance. I had to get my shit from the mud. Okay, from the motherfucking mud, nigga. Okay, so you have to find 5 values that are important to you, and through those 5 values, that's how those are your find divine values. Okay. And under no circumstances, under no temptation do you waver from that. Okay. Because when you waver from that, that means you don't love yourself. And I hate to say it like that. When you waver from yourself, not only do you betray the God within yourself, or the God, because God is within you. That's how I be viewing it. I'm like, damn, okay, I want to do this, but I will be betraying God or betraying spirit if I do that. So I'm like, damn, I can't really do that, because if I say I love God, I say I love spirit, I can't really do that. You feel me? Like, as much as some shit may be very, temptation, but if you waver from those 5 things that you say that you are, automatically you give away your power. Automatically you're not God, you're a human. Okay, because a God has discipline. Okay, a God can overcome human urges. Okay, have some human urges. That's what people fucking lack in this world. Some damn discipline. Have some damn discipline. Okay, and I know it's hard. Okay, but that's the key to happiness. Discipline makes happiness. And I had to fix my relationship with discipline, because growing up, discipline was such a negative thing for me. But I had to find a way. I had to rewire my brain around discipline, because even the word discipline used to make me cringe, because I didn't have the best caregivers. Like, my caregivers version of discipline was just fucking cruelty and fucking sucking out the joy so I can be miserable. Okay. So you need 5 values as a God, and you just show up every day. Okay. You need to also be in shape. Okay. You need to also develop code, your own code. All gods have a code. Okay. All gods have a code. All right. All gods have a code. You have to have a code. Okay. It's not even about being right or wrong. You feel me? Like discipline is, yeah. It's not even about being right or wrong. You have to have a code. Okay. Like, I don't really see currently at the gym. Bam, there you go. Okay. You have to, what was I about to say? Now your code doesn't have to be like I said, morality is subjective. Okay. But if you do something that's against your vibration, then that's when consequences come. So this is why certain people, like, if you got a pure heart and you do fucked up shit, then that's when you take on the consequences, because your natural vibration is not like that. But some people's natural vibration is pure evil, so that's why they can get away with shit. But that's because it has to be both good and evil. So there has to be good, quote unquote, people who are connected to divinity, and it has to be people who are not connected to divinity, in order for us to in order for Earth to play out in their lessons. Like I said, Earth is just it's a stage. It's a stage and it's a school to get you to learn shit. Okay. And through certain people, there are certain lessons that you learn. Okay. So this is why they say, oh, bad people don't get karma. It's because they have to go through their own shit, but they're here as a opposing force to get you to realize of what to do and what not to do. Okay. Okay. So even when you do show up as a God, okay. I hope I communicated this very well. I'm trying not to be I'll be so perfectionistic when it comes to this shit. Okay. But to be a God is to have a responsibility. Okay. If because they say the chosen ones are people who choose themselves. So once you choose to be the highest expression of yourself, you have to understand that's gonna come with some sacrifices. In order to get some spiritual gain, you have to make physical sacrifices. But that sacrifice come with power. I mean, but when you do that, that's like, because power is not going to be given to you free. Okay, nothing in this world is free. Not even energy. Energy ain't even free. Nothing is free. Like, even if you try to, like, when I mean nothing is free, they not like nothing, not even energy is free. Okay, if you praying for something, you gonna have to give up something to get it. If you it could be something as simple as, okay, I'm saving up for this. Okay, therefore you're gonna have to make a sacrifice. So you're gonna, like, you can't get nothing from, you can't get something for nothing. If you want to lose weight, okay, you're gonna have to change your diet. You can't eat honey buns and chocolate chip cookies in the beginning. Now, once you start to work out for like 3 years straight, okay, then that's when you can start. You widen the threshold. Okay, so this is why I can drink as much as I want. I can eat as much as I want now, because I've been working out for 4 or 5 years straight. So therefore, I've widened the gap. So I don't really have to. But in the beginning, I had to make some sacrifices. Okay, you can't get nothing in this world and that includes power. So when people hear the word God, motherfuckers be so quick to fucking claim that shit, but you don't want the responsibility of it. That's like saying, I use the example. That's like saying you want to be president. You want the power, but you don't want to show up to press conferences. Nigga, that's a part of being the fucking president. You have to show up at press conferences. In order to be a God, you have to have some type of integrity. Okay. If you connected to source. Like I said, people get there. I'm talking about being actually connected to source. Okay. If you in a group and your homeboys doing fucked up shit, you gonna have to speak up. You gonna have to risk getting ostracized. Okay. At least they respect you. And I'm learning that too. Like, to be out, it's better to be respected than it is to be loved or liked. Like, men can actually love their mothers, but a lot of men don't respect their mothers. I learned that. A man can love you but not respect you. I would rather be respected than loved. Okay, so you gonna have to be like, no, I ain't fuck with that. Or I don't care if you went out with a group of friends for the night. I don't allow people to litter in front of me. You not finna litter in front of me. I don't give a fuck. Keep it in the car until we get to a fucking trash can. That might cause some arguments. That might cause some discomfort. But bitch, I believe in taking care of the planet because I live here. And at any time, the planet can decide to wipe you off the face of the earth. So it just is what it is. So you're gonna have to do shit like that. Okay, you're gonna have to do shit like that. You're gonna have to maybe be unemployed for a few months. Okay, until spirit can move some shit around to where you can actually get a job that actually fulfills you and to get you more into flow. But you niggas don't want to y'all don't want to sacrifice nothing. You don't want to sacrifice nothing. You have to have power doesn't come for free. You have to give something, y'all. You have to give something. If you want to be a god, it requires giving up something. You have to sacrifice human shit. You might can't be with the hoes every day. Okay. You might can't can't be with the hoes. I know that would be my problem if I was a man. I know I would like hoes. I would like hoes and strippers if I was a man. Okay, that's why I'm glad I'm not a man. Okay, because I know I like hoes, and I mean like strippers. Like I like them. Okay, I like the strippers. I like strippers. But I know if I was a man, I'd probably be up in that strip club down there every day. Okay, paying for love because I like, and there's just certain shit that you just can't do. You just can't do. Okay, it doesn't mean that you don't have fun. That's not the fuck I'm talking about. You can have fun. Because even Dionysus was a god, okay? You can have a little drink, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about the Christian, the Christian polarity and that's how I grew up. I grew up in a super religious household. To like I said, my grandma didn't even believe in playing no card games, no pants. Couldn't do shit. Couldn't listen to Jodeci. Can't do shit. Can't listen to fucking Anita Baker. Can't do shit. Like, just miserable. Just no form of creativity. Just some yang shit. Ain't no space for yin, all yang. Okay. So yeah, if you want spiritual gain, you will have to have physical sacrifice. Okay, and it is what it is. Because God is like, okay, spirit will be like, okay, if you want, how am I know that I can trust you? How can I trust you? How can I trust you with this power when you won't even make a sacrifice? Think about God. Think about that. Like if I was God and you want my power, okay, because we are all individual expressions of God, but some people are just more tapped into it. Like if you can't even make sacrifices because you can't serve two masters, that's why I'm saying Serapis in the Bible. You see that even in the Bible, it says you can't be hot. You either hot nigga or you cold nigga. If you look warm, I'm gonna spit you out. Now Serapis was spitting in that shit. Sometimes I mean, when you be on your spiritual journey, and maturing is realizing too, spiritual growth is realizing too, that religion is actually very helpful. Okay, that's when you're not in your ego. That's when you don't allow, again, a bad ego is when you're disconnected, is when you have an identity that's disconnected from the heart. But a good ego is when your identity is connected to your heart space. Okay, so certain shit in the Bible, I kind of see, but you already know, they took the Bible from the Book of the Dead and other texts and shit like that. We know that, okay, and that's how they be doing that shit. That's really how because it's like they put a little bit of truth and they put a little bit of lie, and then they give it to you. Okay, that's the demiurge. I'm telling you, that's what the demiurge do. The demiurge duplicates truth, inverts it, and then gives it out. So it's like, it's true. It is true. But it's also duplicated. It's also mirrored and inverted. That's how the demiurge works. Very difficult to describe, but I see it. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, it's kind of like, if you want power, if you want my source of power, how can I trust you with divinity? How can I trust you with light when you hot and you cold? When you look warm, you got to either be hot or cold, or I'm gonna spit you out my mouth. So understand that be my biggest issue, because Like I say, motherfuckers be seeing God in the title. Oh, be God, okay? Yeah, be God, but bitch, you don't want to make the sacrifices to be God. You feel me? And then that's why I feel like I'm not getting as much like as much attention as I was in the back of the day, because I was at a certain I was at a certain level. Okay. And again, as you elevate, you're gonna see the difference between the real and the fake. I already know half the people who used to follow me back in like the Masterly Foolish days, they don't watch my shit now because I'm on a different frequency. Because I'm not telling you what the fuck you want to hear all day. I'm not about to do, because that's not gonna get you nowhere. My job is to get you to learn your karmic lesson so you won't have to come back to this motherfucker. Because Earth is not fun. If you don't understand, if you reincarnated on the body, bro, you lost. It's like jail. You in jail. Earth is like, and I'm probably gonna get on here and make that video tomorrow. Because I'm gonna make 2 videos, because it's been 2 weeks. I make 2 videos. But if you in a human body, that's not nothing to celebrate. Nigga, you're in jail. Okay. Meaning there's an experience that your soul needs to learn so it can move on. Okay. But Earth is like a jail. It don't seem like it, because it's like, I said this. Think about jail. Okay, in jail, it's niggas in jail with flat screen TVs and Xboxes, and niggas is making nachos and shit and steak dinners and shit. Yeah, they can make the best of that in jail. It's the same thing. Yeah. And Earth, it's things that, are entertaining. We got rap videos, we got diamonds, we got bad bitches down here, we got food. Okay. But we're still in jail. It's the same thing in real jail. Niggas got cool shit in real jail, but you still in jail. It's cool shit in Earth, in the human experience, but you still in jail. Okay. So I just wanted to make that known. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. But yeah, that's what I wanted to get out. Like, stop, please. Like, I'm really doing my best to really tell y'all the truth as best as I can, as best as I can vocally express it. Because the things that I know is very hard for me to put into words. So I try my best to really condense it the best way I can. But yeah, if you want to be a guy, it comes with responsibility. Okay. So you need to start asking yourself, if I were God, how would I show up? Okay. How would I show up? And that's why I do what I do. This is how I express my divinity. I express my divinity by being articulate. I believe God would be smart. I don't believe God would be ugly. Okay. Clearly, I'm not ugly. Okay. I'm not overweight. Okay. I'm not rude to people. Okay. I'm not loud. I have manners. I think God will have manners. I think God will be a delegator. I think God will be diplomatic. So I do my best to show y'all what God looks like. I think God would be very informative. I think God would tell people the truth. This is why I don't have friends, because I believe God is a truth teller. Because God is not the author of confusion. Anywhere that there is confusion, God does not reside. Understand that. Understand that if it's confusion, whether you're dating somebody, whether you're in the workplace, whether you're in a group setting, where you're in a family setting, if there is confusion, God does not reside there. If there is an omittance of truth, God does not reside there. Okay, because God is truth. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I will probably be back on tomorrow. Promise. And till next time.